Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of The Take. I'm your host, Jackson Burleson, of course. And in today's episode, I got my guy, James Irvin, Green Bay Packers fan, on the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Jackson. This is going to be a fun one.
No, we're ready to get into some football right now because my Dallas Cowboys right now are trying to get Deion Sanders to leave Colorado and coach the Cowboys. So I'm a Cowboys fan, been Cowboys fan since I've been born. So how should Cowboys fans feel about this possibility?
Well, if you would have asked me yesterday, Jackson, I would have told you I don't think there's really any shot that this happens. But then today I saw a report that apparently close friends are encouraging Deion Sanders to take the Cowboys job, and apparently he's really intrigued by it if Jerry Jones were to offer it. Now, the transition between college and the pro game is completely different. I mean, it's two completely different sports, but the way college football has been transitioning, it's kind of moved closer to the pro game. So I feel the transition between college coaches and NFL coaching, it can be easier. And with Deion Sanders having played in the NFL, I think he could command a lot of respect. It'd definitely be one of the most fascinating moves ever. And we know how much the Cowboys love having their fascinating, interesting moves. I don't necessarily know with the roster construction of the Cowboys right now if they'd be set up for success in year one, but I think it'd be really, really interesting and really entertaining. But how are you feeling about it?
Well, one, Jerry loves his publicity. Okay. Absolutely. So like that, this is number one. This is why he's entertaining.
That's why he would do it.
Yeah.
That's why it's going to happen. Yeah. That's why it's going to happen. I have a feeling.
I don't know if I would go that far to just sit here and guarantee that it's going to happen because Deion has said like, hey, like I love, the coaching staff at Colorado and things like that. So like, I don't know. I'm kind of like not trying to get too hopeful for it because it is something I want really badly.
You
because
want it.
I do. I think Deion has the personality to turn this thing around. Now, the question is Shedeur Sanders and Deion a package deal? Like I think that's what we're trying to figure out right now is do the Cowboys have to trade up in the draft to get Shedeur Sanders for Deion to become the Cowboys head coach? I feel like that has to happen first.
Well, I think you have to have your head coach hired before the draft. So I think if Deion Sanders, you would have to have that kind of plan already put in place if you were to hire Deion Sanders. Because you can't go into the NFL draft banking on the fact that you can trade up and get Shedeur Sanders. I think if Deion Sanders were to be hired as the coach, I think the move to move up in the draft wouldn't come on draft night. It would come way before, weeks before. I feel like if you're hiring Deion Sanders, you're kind of planning to get Shedeur. Because I feel like that's kind of the only way Deion goes to the NFL is if he is coaching with Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, absolutely. But what do we do with Dak Prescott? I saw the trade with
the Jets.
FanDuel posted a trade I don't even think would happen. Let me know what you think if this actually could happen. So the Titans would get Dak Prescott, okay? Cowboys, we would get the number one pick, 2025 fourth round pick, and 2026 third round pick. So we'd get 3 draft picks, number one overall pick. FanDuel actually posted. This was not my idea, by the way.
Just for Dak Prescott?
Yes.
I feel like if you're the Cowboys, you accept that instantly. What do you? If there's no way the Titans do that, dude, I'm sorry.
No,
there's no way. That is no way.
And if we trade Dak Prescott,
I would hate that trade for the
we would
Titans.
be having like $104 million in like dead cap or something like that.
That's the other thing too. You have to find a team that can actually take on Dak Prescott's contract, and there's not a lot to that. I think maybe that you could sit Shedeur Sanders here because I'm going to be honest with you, Jackson. It's a weak quarterback.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of this class.
Cam Ward looks all right, but I haven't really gotten into my film study yet of the college prospects that I like doing. But Cam Ward looks all right. There's questions about Shedeur Sanders' arm strength transitioning to the next level, but I think Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback in this class. He's accurate, and I think that's a very, very big thing coming to the next level in the NFL. We see these guys get drafted on their high traits, high athleticism, high arm strength, but they're not necessarily accurate. Shedeur Sanders has the accuracy already put in place. Kind of has to clean up the footwork a little bit, but I mean, that's
he does. But that'll come with time, in my opinion.
Come into the system he gets transitioned into. I think that's why Deion Sanders would have to be his head coach if he were to leave Colorado.
And I think it'll help Shador's transition more because he does have a receiver like CeeDee Lamb. It's not like you're going to a garbage team with no receiving core. Like, I mean, let's be honest. The Cowboys aren't a bad team.
No.
I don't think we're a Super Bowl contender, but like we can definitely be a playoff team, in my opinion. Fully healthy, we can be a playoff team. No, let's not get it twisted. This year, we weren't really healthy for the majority of the season. We had Deron Bland out. Micah Parsons was out for a significant amount of time. I mean, we were missing a lot of pieces. Now, I'm not saying by any means those two guys being out would have changed anything about the Cowboys season because, plain and simple, Dak was just bad. And first of all, if Jerry wouldn't have given Dak this contract, one, it would have been probably easier to get Dion to be the coach. And two, it'd be easier to get Shador because we wouldn't have to worry about, let's call up Cleveland. Like, do you want to take this contract? Like, no. No one wants to take this contract for the production. And his hamstring is torn off the bone. So, like, the guy's not going to be able to move. Dak Prescott was already limited when it came to his movement. He had that ankle injury. So, like, he's already a very injury-prone quarterback. And a hamstring...
It's a Kirk Cousins situation.
It's bad. I mean, torn hamstring. I mean, you're not coming back from this. Like, no way. No.
It's not.
Like, who wants that? That's a damaged product. It is. And Dak Prescott's a great guy. Don't get me wrong. He's a great guy. Just like Tony. He's a great guy. But when it comes to winning football games, he always falls short. And I think right now, if Jerry looked long picture instead of going, well, actually, I don't even know why he paid him. It made no sense. I can't even come up with a reason why he would have paid him. But you didn't think long term because right now the Cowboys need to rebuild. And with CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons compared to Dak Prescott, those two guys are in very different stages of their careers. They're a lot younger. Dak Prescott has been in the league for like 10 years now. So, like, it's just Jerry needs to do a better job of looking farther away. Play chess, not checkers, Jerry Jones. This is why Cowboys fans are so displeased with this man because he just doesn't think.
The Cowboys need to hire an actual GM.
Yeah. Well, we have one. We just don't use him. Stephen Jones, I don't even know if he ever has perform the general manager duties once.
Jerry's running the show.
Oh yeah. There's no question about that.
And
no,
it's a tough spot to be in if you're the Cowboys because you do got to pay Dak Prescott. That's why I didn't think it was necessarily the right move to fire Mike McCarthy. I think you could probably go back into next season with the current core you have. But I mean, it's probably time to blow it up if you're Dallas. The window you have with that Dak Prescott era,
it's gone.
It's closed. The Super Bowl window's closed.
No, we're not.
Last year, you guys did have a significant shot. It was a good team.
No, that was our best shot we had. Period. That I've seen in the Dak Prescott era. Maybe outside of his rookie year. I mean, that's probably the best shot I've seen in a long time.
One of the better teams. First youngest NFL team in NFL history.
Get out of here with that. Dude. First,
it just seems to happen like that when our teams match up in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't. Yeah. Yeah, I don't.
Dez didn't catch it, by the way.
Yeah, I don't. Okay. Okay, get out of here right now. I'm gonna kick this man off the set. Yes, he did. He took 3 steps. I'm not gonna sit here and argue this. No, we're not going down this road because. One, that 2 years later, they wrote it a catch.
He didn't.
Yes, he did. The NFL even said he did 2 years later. Like, how's that not a catch? He made a football move. He did. I tell you right now, we would have won the Super Bowl that year if Dez Bryant catches that ball. I do not care if there's 5 minutes left.
That Patriots D was pretty good.
I don't care. That was the chance right there. Patriots Cowboys, that was written all over that year.
It should have been Tom Brady Rogers Super Bowl.
We're not. I'm sorry. Get away from that year.
That was a low blow. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's taking cheap shots out here, dude. What's going on?
My bad.
How many interceptions did Jordan Love throw against the Eagles? Okay, we'll move on.
That was pass interference on the Bowman.
Okay.
Keyshawn Nixon recovered it.
Staying on the draft, so we're talking about the number 1 pick. So it looks like you are thinking Shador should go number 1. Is that where you're leaning?
I don't think any quarterback should go number 1 overall.
But it's need, right?
It's need, but I think also sometimes teams have to look at best player available. I mean, Anthony Richardson got drafted at number 4 overall to the Indianapolis Colts. And if he is, and when you say that out loud, it's like, yeah, these quarterbacks can go pretty high, because if Anthony Richardson can get drafted at number 4 overall, a lot of quarterbacks can get drafted at number 4 overall. I mean, Jalen Milroe could go at 4 overall if we're comparing college careers. But it's just a weak quarterback class to me. I think the Titans are in a spot where they're not a quarterback away. And I don't think any one of these quarterbacks, like, these are project quarterbacks. These are quarterbacks that I believe would need to sit for a few years, develop, maybe take the Jordan Love route, sit a few years, develop. I mean, Bryce Young got benched. He got better after he came back.
Yep.
Drake May was sat the first few weeks. He looked pretty good in the limited stuff we saw. I mean, the Patriots had nothing this year. That's not Drake May's fault.
They still groomed him the way that, like, it's a model that should be used to develop quarterbacks for any team, in my opinion.
It really should be. So I think, and the bad thing is the Titans would start them right away. I mean, Cam Ward's an older NFL prospect because he went the JUCO route and came in. So he probably has a lot of snaps under his belt.
Yeah, he played 5 years.
He still looks like he needs to sit and develop for a little bit. So, I mean, if I'm the Tennessee Titans, I'm going best player available with a generational prospect like Travis Hunter on the board. I'm taking Travis Hunter all the time. Wide receiver and cornerback. He can play both. He adds depth to both sides of the ball. I think he can. He says he wants to play both sides of the ball in the NFL.
Which would be insane if he actually could do it.
It'll get done. I think he'll probably do corner first, because I believe he's a better corner than receiver.
I think so.
So I think he'll do corner, which the Titans need, a true lockdown corner like Travis Hunter, just to keep adding to that defense.
Yep.
But then he comes in on the wide receiver side for like third downs and such. I think that could work. I think he would be limited on the wide receiver side, but I think you got to go best player available, and to me, that's Travis Hunter.
I see what you're saying with the best player available, but that's not what the Titans need. Like I think they need a quarterback.
They do.
And Cam Ward, to me, like, in college this year, he looked amazing. I mean, you like, he did play a lot of unranked teams. Don't get me wrong. Like, he did. But, like, it didn't look like he was trying. Like, I mean, it looked like he could go to another level. So, like, the throws he was making, just his pocket presence, and also his mobility. I mean, he wasn't really easy to tackle by any means. Like, he was jogging on the sidelines to get a first down. I mean, I think he's got the build. He's big enough. I think he's smart. Like, that first game when they played Florida, which Florida ended up turning around their season and being competitive.
Emory Jones should have been the starting quarterback in the beginning of the season.
But that game right there for Cam Ward, first of all, when he transferred to Miami, I didn't know how good he was going to be. I saw, like, potential, but I was like, whoa, okay, like, he's been pretty good for that game. And then he kept going, and he was in the Heisman talks for a little bit. Now, obviously, he didn't win it, but, like, I mean, I think he proved enough. And the eye test for Shedeur Sanders, to me, I don't know. He just doesn't, like you said, his footwork, his mechanics. I mean, Cam Ward's mechanics are a lot better, in my opinion. And he wasn't throwing to the best receiver in college football.
No, that is true. I'll give you that. But Xavier Restrepo is an amazing wide receiver. I would love it if the Green Bay Packers could snag him in the second round of this upcoming draft. But there's also this other factor that factors in with Shedeur Sanders, and it's, do NFL teams really want all that extra baggage? There's going to be no other rookie quarterback that's going to get the type of media attention.
Well, he'll sell tickets. He'll sell tickets.
He will, and it'll be entertainment, but there's going to be so much extra baggage and extra media attention that comes on Shedeur Sanders.
Because he is a Sanders and all that.
He's going to be just as talked about as Patrick Mahomes. There's going to go from a Patrick Mahomes segment to a Shedeur Sanders segment. And so it's going to be a lot on there.
A lot of pressure.
There is that extra baggage. There's always going to be now you got to hire Deion Sanders. There's always going to be those talks. And so maybe I just think the media could construe it away to where Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders are coaching and playing with each other in the NFL.
Because there's no clear-cut number one pick like there was last year. Like, everybody knew the Bears were going to take Caleb Williams. There's no question about it. This year, you could argue that a quarterback may not be taken, like you're saying, with Travis Hunter. Like, you could argue a lot of players that could get moved up and down. I mean, I've seen mock drafts with Jalen Milroe in the second round. I mean, who knows if he could end up in the first round? I mean, there's a lot of potential there. Quinn Ewers, maybe he sneaks into the first round. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's a weak, like I said, it's a weak quarterback class. And I think this upcoming draft class is a weaker class than it is last year. There's a lot of good players coming out in this draft class, don't get me wrong. But it's they're not flashy positions of what they're good. There's not that top end wide receiver talent like we saw with Neighbors and Marvin Harrison last year. It's a loaded running back class. Loaded.
Probably one of the best running back class I've ever seen in my life.
It's a really good corner class.
It's deep.
A solid tackle class. It's a really good edge class. Great edge class coming up. So I think there's just like a lot of interior lineman positions. A lot of front seven positions.
The running backs are nuts. You're talking about Genty, Scatabo, RJ Harvey, Ollie Gordon.
Hampton,
yeah, dude.
North Carolina.
I mean, bro, there's a lot of good running backs.
It is.
Cowboys are currently projected to take Genty at 12, which who knows if we even stay there. So
to that point, with a lot of loaded running backs in this class, could that necessarily hurt Ashton Genty's value? Because, like, you can get why reach for Ashton Genty at 12 overall? If you can get a rookie running back, good, not as good as Ashton Genty. He's clear-cut number one back in this class, in my opinion. But you can get, like, Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee in the third round.
Yeah, or Cam Scatabo.
Like, there's a lot of good running backs in this class, so I think that could cause Ashton Genty to fall a little bit, because I don't think teams necessarily want to reach on a running back in the first round, considering how much positional value, as you mentioned earlier, is valued in the NFL draft. That's why quarterbacks rise all the time.
Yeah, because it's always everyone needs a quarterback. Everyone needs a quarterback every single year. That's the name of the game. But let's move on from the draft and let's playoffs. Okay, so now we're going to the divisional round now. Oh my gosh, Bills, Ravens, it's happening.
It's going to be game of the weekend.
Oh, not even close.
So.
Like,
I hope so.
I think
the NFL
this
picked
week,
the right game to
this is
cap
the
off.
game right here where Lamar Jackson can shut some people up.
Yes.
And I feel like, I don't know if this game will affect the MVP, but in my opinion, whoever wins this game's MVP in my eyes.
Well, I think Lamar Jackson winning or getting the All-Pro nod, and it's the same voters who vote on the All-Pro team for MVP. I think that right now, I think Lamar Jackson is the favorite to win the MVP right now. I mean, he's better than Josh Allen in every single statistical category except for rushing touchdowns. So Lamar Jackson has outplayed Josh Allen. Josh Allen, I love Josh Allen. He does have less than Lamar Jackson does. I'll give you that. James Cook and Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's better. Zay Flowers is better than Khalil Shakur. It's not like we're arguing the best receivers.
Speaking of, is Zay Flowers? I feel like he's still questionable. So, like, is he going to play? I heard he might not.
Per Ian Rappaport, outside shot at playing, but right now it's not looking like he will play, which is going to
that's a big deal.
It's going to affect how this game is going to go. I still like the Baltimore Ravens -3, though.
I think I will take the Ravens still. I'm going to stick with my original pick because of one man, King Henry, dude. If Derrick Henry keeps playing the way he's been playing, there's no stopping this Ravens team. I mean, I could go as far as to say they beat the Chiefs. I gotta shut up.
No, you're absolutely right. I think you're right. I think last year's Ravens team was better. I think their defense was better. They're healthier on the offensive side of the ball. But having Derrick Henry in your backfield this year, it has improved the running game so much.
100 yards rushing in the first half versus the Steelers. The first half. He had 2 touchdowns in the first half too. Like, are you serious? That's one full game.
And this is why the Ravens weren't playing him as much in the regular season. We were saying, like, why are the Ravens only giving the ball 11 times? I mean, Derrick Henry only had 50 yards. Why are you losing some games? Well, they've saved King Henry, and now he's dominating on the football field. He's running through the AFC at the moment.
Which he's done in the past.
If he can carry Ryan Tannehill and those Titans teams to an AFC championship, you don't think he can get Lamar Jackson to an AFC championship? Lamar Jackson, who's playing the best football of any quarterback in the NFL right now. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. He's got the 3 rings, obviously.
What would you say for people who think Joe Burrow belongs in that MVP conversation?
He does. He does. Because that Bengals defense was pretty bad. The numbers he put up were historical.
Yeah.
He was great. Normally, those type of numbers, wins you an MVP. Having a Triple Crown receiver, you're up there. But man, was Lamar Jackson not better than Joe Burrow this year? I mean, better passing. No, he wasn't. Better QBR, better passer rating, less passing touchdowns, but also less interceptions. 900 rushing yards. That is value. That is production that Joe Burrow just does not give you on the football field.
I agree with you, but I'm going to throw something at you real quick. Because to me, Lamar Jackson is not my MVP, but the MVP plays for the same team. It's Derrick Henry. I mean, why is Derrick Henry not in the MVP conversation? Because he's a running back and he doesn't play quarterback. That's the reason he's been good. Is because of Derrick Henry. If you take Derrick Henry off, I guarantee you Lamar Jackson has a lot more responsibility, and his numbers, his QBR, are probably a little worse. I'm not saying they're like all the way different, but without him, that's a big difference.
But you got to give and take with that as well. Like Derrick Henry is getting lanes opened up from Lamar Jackson being as good as he is. On the read option play, you watched it. There's this play going around. I don't know if you've seen it, but there are 3 Steelers defenders following Lamar Jackson that opened up that lane for Derrick Henry on the touchdown. And it goes to the same thing with Joe Burrow. Like, take away Jamar Chase. How good do those passing numbers look? Take away T. Higgins. How good do those passing numbers look? The fact that he has both of those weapons, and Lamar Jackson's best wide receiver this year was like Isaiah Likely?
No, it was Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers? But that's what I'm saying. Like, the argument of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman, because Mark Andrews was beat up this year, though Mark Andrews was really good this year. He's still their wide receiver 1. So Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers or Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, it's not really close.
Well, the Ravens, their number 1 receiver was Zay Flowers, in my opinion. And then it kind of trickles down from there. But I think it's the same argument both ways because, yeah, you take away Joe Burrow's weapons, yes. But, like, with the RPOs and read options and all that, like, if you don't have Derrick Henry, I mean, it's just a completely different look. I mean, you have to give attention to Derrick Henry. You have to give attention to Lamar Jackson. So if you take Lamar Jackson away, that's harder for Derrick Henry. But if you take Derrick Henry away, it's the same. You could go both ways with that. So, like, I don't know if adding Derrick Henry was a huge piece. It's called the most valuable player, and the most valuable player to the Ravens this year has been Derrick Henry. And we've seen that in the playoffs. He's the player that jumpstarts that team. They don't start running the ball with Lamar Jackson. They start running the ball with Derrick Henry.
It all starts with Lamar Jackson. The Ravens team is built around Lamar Jackson.
But if you can't run the football, then no one's gonna bait for anything
passing
else.
Touchdowns. They don't necessarily.
I'm not debating that. I'm not saying it's bad. Lamar Jackson's gonna get it. But like, I'm just saying, I think Derrick Henry's getting a little overlooked in my opinion when it comes to this.
I agree with you. But counterpoint to that point, if you're giving a running back the MVP, it's got to be Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley was the best running back in football this year. It was because the Ravens had a smart strategy. Derrick Henry is a little bit older, probably on the last couple years of prime Derrick Henry, or Derrick Henry being this good. I mean, running backs just get old. Derrick Henry's a monster, different animal. So we don't necessarily know, but just as history tends to show, Derrick Henry on the wrong side of 30 for a running back. Saquon Barkley, 2,000 rushing yards. I mean, that is one of the only players in NFL history. So I think if you're giving it a running back, it would be Saquon Barkley. He was the best running back in football this year.
No, he was. But I think Derrick Henry had a case for a little bit. It kind of just fell off because the media is like Lamar Jackson, which is fine.
It was all over Josh Allen there for a while.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
and I didn't understand that. Again, Lamar Jackson better than him.
It's because Josh Allen's weapons
has less. Way less.
He doesn't have as much, which is fine. Good. And he's also got Amari Cooper, who he needs to show up. Like,
they traded for Amari Cooper.
And he had, 2 catches for 8 yards against the Broncos? I mean, he needs to do better than that. I know they got Khalil Shakir and James Cook, who's running the football great, but Amari Cooper, if the Bills want to win this game, he's got to show up.
2 seasons, or like the last year Amari Cooper had with the Browns with Joe Flacco out there with Cleveland. I mean, he was so valuable to that Cleveland team. And he was so good on the Cowboys. And Roll Tide, he was so good on Alabama, man. And it just sucks to see, one of these players that you grew up watching just hit the point of their career where it's kind of just like, all right.
Well, I don't think he's like done per se. I just think the Bills' offense is a little bit different because your Josh Allen runs the ball and their run game. That's the main focus when they start their offense. But their pass game's good. It's just, it's crazy is Josh Allen hit 8 different receivers against Broncos, which I think he's going to have to do that again if they want to even win this game. But I don't trust. I don't know. Buffalo to me is just like, they're just a cursed franchise. I mean, they just I just don't see them winning a Super Bowl. Like I just can't. I can't. So I'm sticking Ravens there. That's all I got to say about that. I think
if the winner of this game, if they can get past the Chiefs' devil magic, then it's gonna be. Both these teams' kryptonite is kind of just seem to be the Chiefs.
Everyone's kryptonite is the Chiefs. Every team in the NFL's kryptonite is the Chiefs.
It is. The NFL's current kryptonite is the Chiefs. But you look at how these teams match up against each other. I think John Harbaugh is the better coach than Sean McDermott. They're both great coaches, but Harbaugh has the experience factor on him. I think Lamar Jackson is playing the best football of his career. I think last year it wasn't his best football season, so I think the MVP. It was a weak MVP conversation last year. I think if Saquon Barkley had the year he had this year, you would have got the MVP.
Yeah, 100%. Yes.
Because Brock Purdy was getting an MVP talks
so
last year.
Dak.
Remember that? Yeah.
I don't know about that. Oh my God! But let's get into a couple more matchups. I'll play my play of the week in between this. So it's Ty Johnson scoring that touchdown versus the Broncos. That was a pretty good one.
It was a pretty cool touchdown.
I don't know how you got that one down.
Honorable mention for play of the week. It didn't count, but the Ja Morant hit a pretty sick dunk. It didn't count. I think I
might have seen that one.
Yeah, it didn't count, but I was like, that's like an honorable mention out there. It was pretty cool dunk.
Okay, so. We got an honorable mention. I'll play both of them just cause why not? Okay.
Big play here. Trying to go up top for it.
He wants to run for it, Jim. He wants to just go get it with his legs. He's trying to find
it. It wasn't there, so now he's got to throw it deep to the end zone. And was that caught? Yes! Ty Johnson scrapes it off the ground, above the ground for the touchdown. Did he?
It's really close.
It looks like he's got a hand underneath it.
What a throw and catch, but did the foot touch the backside?
Oh, that's
this
a good
is
point.
Going to be a touchdown, most likely.
Ja Morant, ball in his hands. Last 3 games have been decided by 8 total points for the Grizzlies. A lot of late game situations. Ja in the late game situation.
That won't count, but we love it.
My goodness. Ja talking about late game situations, said those possessions, we got to value the possessions more. We got to have more possessions. We got to limit offensive boards. We got to execute correctly. Ja's got 17 points the last 2 fourth quarters, and this highlight to boot.
Listen, it don't count, man, but you can show this all day. I mean, it didn't count, but wow, did he just put it on his head?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's play of the week. Shout out to Ty Johnson with that crazy touchdown. But let's go to, I know how you feel about this game. Eagles versus
the Eagles. Keyshawn Nixon covered that
I'm
fumble.
with you because I honestly don't like the Eagles either. But the Eagles have... What's crazy is that to me, the Eagles didn't really look all that great against the Packers. I mean... Offensively, they were very inconsistent, and if they play that way against the Rams, that Rams defense against the Vikings looked phenomenal. I mean, 9 sacks on Sam Darnold. 9? I mean, are you serious right now?
Historic.
Their pass rush is nuts. They got Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, 2 Seminole boys. I'm so glad they're doing well in the league. But like those dudes, and Byron Young, I mean, those guys are nothing to mess around with, man. This Rams team is playing good football and they're hot at the right time and they have the experience coaching. Sean McVay, in my opinion, is a better coach than Nick Sirianni. That I think is a fact.
I agree. 100%.
That could be a huge thing.
100% agree.
And everything.
He's got a Super Bowl. No question.
Yeah, he's got a Super Bowl. And Matt Stafford is him.
Most experienced quarterback left in the NFC right now. Probably is the best quarterback left in the NFC right now if you're just looking at it. I think because Jaden Daniels is a rookie. As much as I love Jaden Daniels, he's still a rookie, so you can't really give it So I'm not taking him over Matt Stafford in a 2-minute drill. Jared Goff's really good, but he's not Matt Stafford. At the end of the day, he's just not Matt.
When Matt Stafford plays at his best, like he's a problem.
He's the best quarterback left in the NFC, and I love Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts made a Super Bowl, but I just don't think he's a better. I just think he's less inaccurate. He's more inaccurate than Matthew Stafford. I think Stafford has a better arm. I think Stafford's the better decision maker. So I think obviously Jalen Hurts is a better athlete, but I think Matthew Stafford, they have maybe the best coach left in the NFC. They may be the best quarterback left in the NFC. I think this game could get close. I think this game could get ugly. The thing that scares me, though, is this Eagles offense did look sluggish against the Green Bay Packers, and they should have been up 30-0 at halftime, realistically.
What did you think about Saquon sliding at the end of the game? Not breaking loose for that touchdown. Why would he do that, though?
Thank you.
I mean, it was a 12-point game.
Put me out of the misery. I mean, it's just going to end the game. There's no need to do that.
But, he might as well run for the touchdown.
There's no need to do that.
Stat pad.
Save it for the Rams.
I guess.
Merciful ending.
Yeah.
Thank you, Saquon. Yeah. Thank you, Saquon.
Yeah, you would have never thought you would see this guy thank an Eagle, but that's the only Eagle I don't dislike, in my opinion.
I love Saquon Barkley.
No, he's a great guy. I'm glad to see a player of his caliber win. Like I feel like it's been long overdue. I mean, he was kind of in prison there with the New York Giants for a while, so it's kind of good to see that.
And I think he's going to be the key versus the Rams, because I think you look at this Eagles offensive line, it's like it's the best offensive line in football right now.
It is.
And so I think they'll be able to handle the Rams' defensive line. I think they're just going to lean to the run game. I think Saquon Barkley's going to run all over them. I like Saquon Barkley with 2 more touchdowns. Eagles -7.
So you're taking Eagles. I'm going to stick with the Eagles too, but the Rams could definitely win this game. I mean, it's not out of the cards.
But
I've been thinking about it.
In Philly,
yeah.
The way this Eagles defense is playing, I mean, both offenses have kind of been sluggish lately to end the season. They've kind of been struggling.
The Rams looked sharp against the Vikings.
They did. They really did. But you got to remember going back to the Cardinals game a few weeks ago, and even that 49ers game on Thursday night a few weeks ago. I mean, the Rams they can't even get up to 20 points lately. So,
but they're healthy now.
How their defense is playing, it's really good.
I think Puka Nacua is going to be key for the Rams in this one.
Williams.
If he can go off,
my guy Kyren Williams.
If he can go off,
well,
that
I think it's the same thing
difference.
with Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Eagles. I mean, Jalen Hurts looked very sluggish coming off that 3 weeks rest. So I think if they can get the passing game going more with AJ Brown, and we saw Dallas Goedert too.
Dude, that touchdown was nuts, dude.
You didn't have to do that in the studio.
He said, "Get off me."
You didn't have to do that in the studio, by the way, Jackson.
Get off me.
It was a great highlight, but I just didn't need to be there for it.
He got Dallas Goedert sunned him. Like, let's be honest here. He said, "Get away from me! I'm scoring, dude."
Great corner. Carrington Valentine's a good.
But he got sunned on that one. That was bad.
Wasn't our day. Keyshawn Nixon recovered that fumble. Bo Melton was tackled on the 3rd interception of Jordan Love, and
okay, so I'm glad you brought that up.
The refs.
Jordan Love throwing all those picks. Okay, I will give you the last one. I think was a pass interference.
It was 100%
I'll give you that.
Pass interference.
But the two before that,
you'll see Zach Bond tackling Bo Melton as the ball is being thrown to him. What is he supposed to do? Jordan Love sucks. Shut up, Gabe. He's the best quarterback in your franchise's history. Sorry.
The best quarterback. That's not really hard to do. No offense, Gabe.
It wouldn't be. He would.
You guys haven't had a quarterback for 4,000 yards, but I don't. Jordan Love. Yeah, I was kind of happy to see him not do well because he kind of crapped on my team last year too.
He's better than Dak Prescott.
I don't think that's not hard to do either. So that's not hard to do. He only has one less playoff win. I mean, let's be real. C.J. Stroud has the same amount of playoff wins as Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott's been in the league for 9 years. C.J. Stroud's in his 2nd. So it's not hard to catch up to him when it comes to playoff victories. And now, okay, since I brought up C.J. Stroud, I think this is a perfect segue to go into the Texans at the Chiefs. Okay, this is a game I feel like no one's really caring about in a way.
And I think it's one of the most fascinating games of the weekend, Jackson. I really do. Because the way this Chiefs offensive line plays compared to this Texans defensive line. I think this Texans defensive line is the best left in the NFL in the playoffs. Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson, the Texans were second in the league in pressures this regular season. They're going to be able to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes, a Chiefs offense that is 15th in points per game. The only problem is the Texans offense is 19th in points per game. And I've seen a game where their defense has gotten 5 interceptions.
I think they were
22nd.
They were 22nd in total offense this year, which it looked anemic for a little bit.
I mean, losing Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs.
That hurts.
It's going to happen. So that's what I think. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I think this is really going to come down to who's going to make that final last play on the drive. And it's not going to be a 48-45 last drive. It's going to be 14-17.
I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. Period.
I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes.
That's not going to happen. And for me, I feel like Texans winning this game, I don't. It's highly unlikely. Like I just don't. CJ Stroud, I think this Chiefs pass rush is going to be a problem, and you got to deal with Chris Jones now. Chris Jones is a handful in the playoffs.
I don't think the Texans offense is really going to be able to overcome this Chiefs defense I believe the Chiefs offense.
And the Chiefs are well rested. Defense. I mean, let's not. I know it's like, rust or whatever can be a factor, but like in football, you would rather be rested than not, because it's just such a physical game. Like you would rather be fresh, ready to go. And the Chiefs have been here before. It's not like this is their first playoff game with Patrick Mahomes. Like they've been down this road before, and it's at Arrowhead. I mean, let's be honest here. Patrick Mahomes in the divisional round, he has no turnovers, not one, and he's 16 touchdowns. That is, you're not going to do anything about that, Houston. I'm sorry.
Mahomes might be the best playoff quarterback of all time. Rivaling Tom Brady, obviously, of course, the 7 Super Bowls. But even Tom Brady didn't play as well as Patrick Mahomes has played on a pure quarterback statistical basis. Brady is obviously one more, but Patrick Mahomes getting the 3P, I mean, would that put him in GOAT conversations? I think it would.
Yes. I've said that.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's, if you don't put him in the conversation, you're dumb. Because I know it's the Chiefs. He's
a better athlete than Brady.
No, yeah.
He's got a stronger arm than Brady.
No question. No question.
Can I say this? It kind of is like taking the same route as Aaron Rodgers. Like, I think Aaron Rodgers is a more talented quarterback than Tom Brady, but Tom Brady's the best quarterback of all time. I
think everyone would agree with that. But I also think when it comes to like situations, Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady are very similar in that way, because they're in the best situation possible. I mean,
and they're the best situational quarterbacks of all time. Like, in a 2-minute drill, dollar on death beam pointing to the planet on the earth. Like, I mean, you want those two quarterbacks.
Is that Max Kellerman?
Yeah, you want those two.
Haven't heard that in a while.
You want those two leading your drive. You want those two being the quarterback. I mean, those are the only those two most clutch quarterbacks in NFL history.
Yeah, and I'm not starting by betting against Patrick Mahomes. It's just not going to happen.
And I think Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes are literally taking the Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers career route, where Mahomes and Brady are getting the rings and are going to have the best careers of all time, but Lamar and Rodgers are going to have are getting the MVPs and are more talented than those two. So I think they're kind of just taking those career arcs, where Patrick Mahomes is obviously going to have the better career when it's all said and done, because I think he'll have more rings and he'll have a good amount of MVPs.
More
but
rings.
Lamar will have more MVPs and is more talented just because he's the best running quarterback of all time.
I think Lamar will get one at some point. Now, whether it's this year or in the future, I believe he'll get one. If he does get one, I think it has to be this year, in my opinion, because I think this is the best shot Lamar Jackson has had. I've got the Chiefs and Ravens in the AFC Championship, so that's where my head is at with that. But I'm not as good as the Ravens have been. I just don't see anyone knocking off the Chiefs, and I know Travis Kelce. He's had career lows and yards and touchdowns, but it doesn't matter. Do we not remember what he did to a better Ravens defense last year? The Ravens defense is worse this year, and he torched them last year. It doesn't matter. He's Travis Kelce in the playoffs. He's not to mess around with. It's just not. Like, he's the best tight end in football when he plays the way he's supposed to. He can coast during the regular season. It's fine because it doesn't affect them. Because let's be honest, the Chiefs went 15-2. They're probably one of the worst 15-2 teams we've ever seen. But they were also one of the worst teams we ever saw last year when the Super Bowl. They were leading the league in drops. So, like, it doesn't matter how bad they are during the regular season. If they go undefeated, that's all that matters.
Does it kind of just not feel like the Chiefs just kind of coast their way?
They always
through
do.
Everything.
They always do.
It's like escape at the end of the game. Feels like they're just kind of coasting through the regular season, and they kind of coast through the playoffs.
And it takes luck. Because let's be honest, last year when they lost to Buffalo, Tyler Bass missing that field goal, that was just luck. I mean, in the past with the Bills too, they've gotten so, like, either way, even if the Chiefs play the Bills or Ravens, the Chiefs are gonna win because they've already beaten both of these teams. It's not like the Bengals are in the playoffs and they struggle with the Chiefs. Like the Bengals have their number.
Can beat the Chiefs.
No, they've proven they can.
Joe Burrow. There is the Joe Burrow effect in that. I'll give it to him. Listen, he's had more playoff success than Lamar Jackson has. But just because you make a Super Bowl doesn't mean you're a better quarterback year to year than the other opponent. I mean, how long ago was that Super Bowl? I mean, Aaron Rodgers won the Super Bowl.
2021, right?
He won it. Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl.
That was in 2010.
It's like Dan Marino never made a Super Bowl. Dan Marino
he did.
He made a Super Bowl.
But he didn't win one.
Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl. So, I mean.
It's okay.
Is he better? Trent Dilfer better the quarterback than him?
No, of course not. Of course not.
That's the argument. You use that logic. To
give you guys some more context, we've been having a argument for, I don't know how long this argument's been. I've been a part of it for about 2 months now. I'm sure it's been going longer than that.
16
Okay, so yeah, way longer than what I just said. The argument is, in the comments, I've let us know what you think. Who's better?
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar
or
Jackson.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow. Me and him are saying Lamar.
Taking Lamar.
It's just a head-to-head thing for me.
It's his best passing year ever. Was this year.
But even if you take away this year, I mean, he's 6-1 against Joe Burrow. So I mean, that speaks for itself.
I mean, the Ravens are historically a more well-run franchise than the Bengals, but I mean, we're really going to see if Joe Burrow, because he signed that big contract, and you can't keep everyone. Sam Hubbard's probably going to be gone after this year because, I mean,
that'll be interesting if they
T.
lose.
Higgins is going to be gone.
If they lose those pieces, how good Joe Burrow will be.
T. Higgins.
That'll be the ultimate deciding factor, I think. If Joe Burrow is still as good as he is right now, take away T. Higgins, or like
because we saw it. Jake Browning was putting up numbers with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Well, because Jamar Chase, I mean, let's be honest, he's the best receiver in football.
Him and Jay Jettas. You can.
I'll give Jamar the nod just because he had the triple crown. Yeah, you got to give it to him.
Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson hasn't done that.
But that flip flops every other year.
Jamar Chase has better quarterback play.
Yeah, and Justin Jefferson is not.
It's the big four. It's Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. I don't know who 5 is. I was ready to give it to Justin Herbert. I'm no longer ready.
I don't know about that. 4 interceptions. Yeah, I'm not sure about that anymore.
He made a Super Bowl. Jared Goff. I mean, Stafford won the Super Bowl, so I mean he's in there as well.
Shoot, maybe
Aaron Rodgers. Let me stop.
I mean, honestly,
Jordan Love.
If we're going top 5 quarterbacks right now, I'll go 5? In order: 1, Patrick Mahomes; 2, Lamar Jackson; 3, Josh Allen; 4, Joe Burrow.
I agree.
And then 5, Matthew Stafford. I mean, Matthew Stafford is so slept on, in my opinion.
Sorry.
He's a great pocket passer. He throws with accuracy. He also can throw on the run. In like the experience factor we talked about. I mean, if he beats the Eagles, that's the number 1 defense in the NFL. That's no bum defense. None.
It's not.
That's not a bum defense. I mean, how many players on the Eagles how many Pro Bowlers are on the Eagles defense? A lot. You could go down the whole line. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Brandon Graham, Jalen Carter, beasts. Nolan Smith.
Vaughn,
Cooper DeJean, Quavion Mitchell,
Darius Slay.
I mean, dude, we can't keep naming. Like, it gets too insane. It gets too insane. We're not trying to glaze the Eagles, but like that is the facts.
Losing to Kobe Dean hurts.
No, it definitely does. But it's not gonna completely kill their season because they have all this other talent. Mm-hmm. So like, I'm just saying, if Matthew Stafford can do that, I think he's proven it. I was ready to give it to Justin Herbert until he had which is crazy to me.
I was
I've
ready to
never
give it to Herbert, too.
expected
I
that.
was.
Never. 4 interceptions. I did not see that coming.
Cost me my parlay. I predicted every game right.
But that
Except
one,
for that one, had bet Chargers money line.
I think I was 4 for 6 wild card weekend.
Yeah,
I missed that one.
5-1.
And what was the other one I missed? Oh yeah, the Rams Vikings. I picked the Vikings in that one.
Hey, I was right about spreads too. I can pull it up, but I was right about the spreads too. So if you need those football picks, you come to me.
Okay, let's
5-1.
Let's get into JB's picks. These odds are courtesy of Hard Rock Bet. Okay, so we're talking picks. One game we really haven't talked about that much. Plus 9.5 Washington Commanders. That's my pick. I think they can cover the spread. Now I'm not saying they're gonna win, but the way Jaden Daniels and this offense has looked, I really do think they could give the Lions some problems. I think they can make it close. Maybe the Lions will pull away at the end. That's plus 9.5. I think that's a friendly number to bet on. But I mean, gosh, Washington could totally go in there and just stun Detroit. I mean, they really could. Like, I have faith in Jaden Daniels. He's looked pretty unbelievable.
It would be a stunner. It would be a stone cold stunner. That is what it would be if the Washington Commanders were able to come into Detroit.
It's possible.
Knock off the 15-2 line. They're high. And I've seen it. I've seen the Green Bay Packers be the number 1 seed in the NFC and lose that very next week and only put up 10 points. So I think if you can get a slow performance out of the Lions offense, I think you can do it. I just really don't I think it's going to be a shootout, and I think the Lions ultimately end up winning it. But I agree with you. I think Commanders plus 9.5, I hammered it.
Yeah.
But I like Jahmyr Gibbs 2 or more touchdowns, especially Bobby Wagner having an ankle injury, hasn't practiced last few days. That Commanders defense is going to be beat up. I like the Lions offense. I think it'll be close up until that fourth quarter, and I think the Lions kind of start pulling away there. I think the offense of powers kind of gets too much. But hey, the Commanders are the clutchest team in the league. Jaden Daniels has the most game-winning drives in the league. So if they keep them in it and you get the ball to Jaden Daniels and they have the ball last, you got to like your odds if you're the Commanders. They go for it. These are the two teams that go for it the most on fourth down.
Yeah,
I think Dan Quinn and Dan Campbell, whatever it is about Dan coaches, they just go for it on fourth down a lot.
But I like it. I like
stay true to your identity.
Like fourth and 2, 4th and 1 to me.
Go for it.
It's not a big deal. It's 1 or 2 yards. I mean, it's
depends on where you are on the field.
It's not. If you're in backed up in the end zone, then of course you're not going to do that. But if you're in the red zone, ready to score, I think you should just put the hammer down and go okay. And let's say this: the Commanders are also kind of a lucky team, in my opinion, as well, because even against the Bucs,
Hail Mary's pretty lucky.
That too, but even against the Bucs, to me, they got pretty lucky because they failed to convert on fourth down in the red zone. Tampa gets the ball back. Baker makes a mistake that he never makes, which is just late on the jet sweep. That's a mistake Baker Mayfield doesn't make 9 times out of 10. That was just the one time.
The worst time to
right.
That as well.
And then you give the Commanders the ball back in the red zone. Then you hold them to a fourth down, and then the rest is hit. I mean, let's be honest here. Terry McLaurin is just been on another level this year. He's the most underrated receiver in the league.
Hammer his over in receiving yards because the Lions right now don't have one person that can go. I mean, they held Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison in the Vikings.
But Terry McLaurin's he's different.
That was bet more on Sam Darnold.
Terry McLaurin's a little more. He's a little sneaky. He can get you.
He's gonna him on Terry on Arnold. That's not the matchup the Lions have to like. It's just not. You have to get pressure on Jaden Daniels. That is going to be the key. The Lions' defense is getting healthier. Alex Anzalone coming back was huge. I like the Lions. I think it's going to be a close one. I like the Lions, though, 41-30.
Yeah, that's a good game.
42-35.
I got Detroit winning.
Detroit wins. Washington covers.
Yeah, I think so.
9.5's a lot, especially in the playoffs. Like, it's a lot of points.
What do you think about that doink game winner by Zane Gonzalez against Tampa?
That can't happen again. You can't be betting on that again. I don't know. I think Dan Campbell's the better coach here in this situation. I think Dan Campbell's been coach of the year. Jared Goff's a better quarterback. I think this Lions team is kind of built to win in Detroit. I think they're kind of built to beat a team like the Commanders because they can control the ball. They can control the clock. I think if it's a lower scoring game, though, I think you got to give the favor to Washington.
I don't really trust Washington's defense.
They've played well. They played well.
I mean, they play well when they need to, but I mean, that's Tampa. I mean, you're not having to deal with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams is one of the most entertaining players to watch in the NFL. He's just so freaking fast. I mean, you cannot cover that man. You can't.
And you can't.
And really, Sam Laporta too. He's really good.
It's the Detroit Lions are the best team in the NFL right now, and they're the team to beat. I mean, them and the Chiefs. I think we're probably unboring prediction is probably just the Chiefs Lions Super Bowl at the end of the day. A fun prediction though is a Ravens Eagles Super Bowl.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm going. I picked Chiefs, Eagles,
but
because Aiden Hutchinson being out, I think is a big deal.
At the end of the day, it's just a three-peat. At the end of the day, it's a three-peat. No matter what we do.
I mean, no one really cares about it, which is crazy because I feel like people should care about it because we've never seen this before.
Huge story.
We've never seen a three-peat.
Never.
I mean, isn't it kind of crazy? The NFL has been around for this long, and we've never seen a three-peat champion.
And it just speaks to the parity of the league, which is what makes the NFL so great.
Yeah, because there's any team can win on any given Sunday. I mean, that's the name of the game. But man, I think we'll wrap up the pod. I appreciate you
that was
hopping
awesome.
on, dude.
That was fun.
Dude, long overdue.
Absolutely.
I'll put James's Instagram in the bio, so go check him out. Before you guys go anywhere, hit the subscribe button, like this video, hit the notification bell, comment down below. We're almost at 800 subscribers, so let's get to 1,000 by I'd say a month from now, and that's what I'm trying to do. So yeah, go ahead and keep tuning in. But I'm Jackson Burleson, and we'll see you guys next week in another episode. Peace out.
Talk to me, baby. Talk to me nice. I'm from another world, baby, yeah. Broadway paradise. They think I'm way too cold, cause I put my